Hafaday, this is Congressman Michael Nicholas. Our veterans deserve the best, and I'm working hard to make sure they receive what they earned defending our freedom. If you need help receiving the benefits you earned from the VA or the Defense Department, please call my office at 475-6453 or go online at stnicholas.house.gov. On behalf of a grateful community, thank you for your service.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael Nicholas.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Michael Nicholas. Our veterans deserve the best, and I'm working hard to make sure they receive what they earned defending our freedom. If you need help receiving the benefits you earned from the VA or the Defense Department, please call my office at 475-6453 or go online at stnicholas.house.gov. On behalf of a grateful community, thank you for your service.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael Nicholas.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Michael Nicholas. Our veterans deserve the best, and I'm working hard to make sure they receive what they earned defending our freedom. If you need help receiving the benefits you earned from the VA or the Defense Department, please call my office at 475-6453 or go online at stnicholas.house.gov. On behalf of a grateful community, thank you for your service.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael Nicholas.
Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using island cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
After Guam, si Rod's Grip introducing the 2020 Toyota Tacoma Access Cap T-Max. Este na mes, gasto mo yung promo ng United Airlines, $1,000 United vouchers. After nananga, sadik man manono si Tacoma, Guam, Tacoma territory. Text si Rod's, ginagi Atkins Pro Toyota, 671-788-2584. Alumbray, go si Rod's, sinanagan sa 671-788-2584. After nananga, let's go places.
Buenas, Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres. Welcome to our studios here at Kandit News in Tumon, Guam. It is Monday, March 16, and what a way to start the week. Actually, I think, depending on how you see it, mostly people's miseries and anxieties, right? Especially those who are on the front lines working very hard for us, that all of that sort of, Buenas, Micronesia. I'm Troy Torres. Welcome to our studios here in Tumon, Guam. It is Monday, March 16, 2020. Thank you for joining us. This is the second time I've done this. Hang on. Let me just touch my, Right. Yeah. Much better now. Sounds good, right? Because it is.
Sounds delicious.
Now, depending, like I guess there are two kinds of people today. There are those whose lives have been disrupted. They're anxious. They're worried. Maybe they're on the front lines, and they're people who've been working very hard since yesterday when basically my cousin Ray Gibson on 93.3 FM on his show this morning, he was talking about how there was a Guam yesterday and there's a Guam now. And like the Guam yesterday, it was before all the panic buying, before Governor Lulian Guerrero's address about the COVID-19 3 confirmed cases. And then there's the Guam that happened right after that address when everything just started to go. And so today moved real fast. And there's a whole lot of news that I'm sure most of this you guys have heard already. If you want to rehear this news, or if you want to hear some of it that is news, then just stick with us. There's actually a whole lot to talk about. First of all, a news release from the Joint Information Center about an hour ago telling us that there were 12 people who tested today, and all 12 of them came back negative. From March 12 through March 16, a total of 26 tests have been performed. To date, 3 tested positive and 23 tested negative for COVID-19. What is 3 divided by 23? What is that percentage? 3 divided by 23 equals, that's a 13% positive rate. The government of Guam is aggressively implementing its planned COVID-19 response to identify and contain transmission of blah, blah, blah. Okay. All 3 confirmed cases identified on Sunday remain in isolation. Public Health is continuing its contact tracing investigation. That's the thing where they ask you, like, where have you been, who have you talked to, and all that stuff, which includes identifying close contacts of the individuals. Close contacts will be quarantined and actively monitored by Public Health for 14 days. COVID-19 testing is only available for people who meet the testing criteria. This is really important, okay? I know a lot of people are asking, how do I get tested? Where do I get tested? And all this stuff. Apparently, these tests are only available for those who meet certain criteria. And this is why it's important to call your clinic or the Northern or Southern Public Health Center ahead of time. If you are experiencing symptoms consistent with COVID-19, please call your healthcare provider or your doctor. You can also call the following numbers to speak with a registered nurse. I think we have that meme, right? Yeah. The red one to show people the phone numbers. You can speak with a registered nurse on any one of these hotline numbers: 480-7859, 480-6760. 480-6763 or 480-7883. Oh, sorry, I was busy with my mango. From 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. But I also got distracted by a news release from the Guam Police Department. Stand by. Got it. Thank you, Sergeant Paul Tapau. So that was your latest news release. So testing, can you put up the testing one? The testing meme that we made, we sent this out earlier today. So this is the question that a lot of people are asking. If you can't afford to go to a doctor or clinic, or you don't even have a doctor, there is no testing fee at the Northern Public Health Center and the Southern Public Health Center. But you need, again, to meet the testing criteria. That's why it's important for you to call ahead of time. And the numbers, if you want to take this down, for the Northern Public Health Center, the number you want to call is 635-7411. Again, that number is 635-7411. For the Southern Public Health Center, the number is 828-7618. Again, that number is 828-7618. If you are having COVID-19 symptoms and you do not have a doctor, you cannot afford to go to a clinic and get a test, call these numbers ahead of time. They'll tell you what to do and how to approach them at the clinic if you are going to approach them at all at the Northern or Public Health Centers, Northern or Southern Public Health Centers. And then they'll take it from there. They'll sort of triage you and determine whether you meet the criteria to be tested for COVID-19. And also, just so you know, like if you go to any clinic or the hospital and present with symptoms, there's a criteria to determine whether you should be tested for COVID-19. So it's not like, you know, it's an either or sort of thing. This is just about whether you can afford to go to a clinic or see a doctor or not.
I got a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
Isn't this a public health, this virus is a public health threat?
Yes.
So why would they be charging?
I guess I don't know.
They
That's
gotta
a really
make
good
money.
question.
It's all about that change.
That is a very good question. And they're supposed to have been provided by the CDC or something, right?
Yeah, so what happens is, I guess I understand they're testing at the public health centers, but what if they can't make it down? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, so if you are having such severe symptoms that you feel you need to call the ambulance, then you just call 911. And then there's a triage that happens from that phone call. And then from there, they determine whether you go into Guam Memorial Hospital. Oh, no, actually, I think they do bring you to the hospital. They do pick you up at the ambulance. And according to Fire Department spokesman Kevin Riley, who we spoke to this morning, he said they do not turn people away. So they will bring you to Guam Memorial Hospital. They just need to figure out, based on a bunch of questions, it's a screening that they do. So if you are presenting with symptoms that, like a very high fever or something like that, and you need a call for an ambulance, that's another way for this screening to happen so they can determine whether you meet the criteria to get tested. Sorry. This mango is really good.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Probably like the heroic news that we got today. I just have to give it up to Guam Power Authority and Guam Waterworks Authority. They had the best freaking news today. So, effective immediately and until, I believe it's March 31. Hang on, let me just go to the news release from Patty Long Diego out of Guam Power Authority. She was kind enough to send this PSA. Check this out. If you are behind in your power bill and you were afraid that you were going to get disconnected by GPA or GWA for your water bill, they are not going to disconnect your account at least until March 31 of this year because they're, 'tis the Corona season. And this also includes GPA prepaid customers. So great news for everyone who was concerned about their power service and their water service. And even if you're on GPA's prepay account, you will not be disconnected until March 31. But if you can make payments, because their centers, their public centers are closed, they are encouraging you to make payments online at gpa.com. Did I give you the meme on that one?
Yes.
I think there's a meme on this one. There's like a with the lady with the phone. She's a little Kitan too. Pay online at gpa.com. You can use their interactive voice response telephone service at 648-3000. You can use their GPWA mobile app, and it's free on both the Apple and the Android stores. You can mail in your payment, or you can use the payment drop box only at the GWA Upper Tumon location. Cash payments may be made at, well, it says Department of Administration ITC location, but I don't know if they're open, or local banks. GPA encourages all customers to continue to be prudent and pay for power services they have consumed and not neglect to pay their power bill, such that payments become unmanageable in the future, stated GPA General Manager John Beneventi. I'm one of these like people who need to follow this advice. Power usage could be altered during a pandemic period in unexpected ways. This is really important, okay? Something to really consider, including that more people remaining at home during this time will likely use more power than if they went to a job. With schools closing, more children will be spending more time at home sucking up all of that power.
Right.
He didn't say that, I added that part in. And we are headed into the warmer months of April, May, and June, during which households typically use more power for air conditioning comfort. You better watch those freaking kids and what they're doing in your home. They're gonna jack up your power price. They're gonna turn on that dryer without any clothes in it.
They're gonna be like, I'm hot. You turn on the aircon.
Gotta love kids until you see that power bill, right? Then there's more news from the judiciary. The Chief Justice, F. Philip Carbolito, issued a message to his employees at the judiciary. But there is more information from Christina Blas, who's their new public information officer over there. And this is, one second, I just need to find everything. This is everything. There's like so many documents that came out today. It's like a cluster F. In two different email boxes, sorry. There is guidance from the judiciary on jury service. Okay. The Chief Justice issued an order relative to the impanelment of juries in exigent circumstances. Significant points of this administrative order is that trials in civil and criminal cases scheduled to commence in the Superior Court between the date of this order and April 17, okay, so between today and April 17, are going to continue. However, more information will follow regarding cases where a jury has already been impaneled. All active pettit jurors shall serve to the full extent of the law. Full details are in the administrative order. Relative to court operations under exigent circumstances related to COVID-19 coronavirus. So I think this answers everyone's questions about committing crimes. If you had a question about committing a crime, our judicial system has not shut down. Do not commit crimes. The following matters shall continue to be scheduled and heard in keeping with the urgency of those matters and consistent with statutory requirements, either in person or remotely. Magistrate proceedings, which, as we become bored during the self-quarantine period, I assure you we will be reviewing more of these magistrates' reports. Preliminary hearings for detained juveniles, civil protection orders, temporary restraining orders, and search warrants. Full details are on the administrative order. So the Chief Justice gave a telephonic address to all judiciary employees. He said it is especially important during these difficult times when there are so many questions and so much uncertainty that you receive clear guidance and information from your leaders. I would just like to express that my prayers are with all of you and with our island family. Thank you, Tina Blas, for providing that information to us. If you haven't heard the word yet, all schools are closed. The governor has closed down all schools, public and private, and that includes daycare centers, according to the Joint Information Center and according to the information that she provided earlier today in Executive Order 2020-04. Here are the guidelines for, well, these are the governor's orders. They aren't just guidelines. She has prohibited large gatherings, and that number has gone down from 100 to 50 at a time in a single room in a single space for social, spiritual, and recreational activities, including but not limited to community, civic, public, leisure, faith-based, or sporting events, parades, concerts, festivals, fiestas, conventions, fundraisers, and similar activities throughout Guam. The executive order also limits the occupancy of any place of business or public accommodation for which attendance is anticipated to be fewer than 50 people. So this is for like the smaller businesses and public accommodations. And shall operate at no greater than 50% occupancy and no greater than 50% of seating capacity. This directive does not apply to retail establishments providing basic food and necessities such as grocery and convenience stores, hospitals, pharmacies, or other medical offices and facilities. I want to say something to the island's businesses, just the ones who are not following the governor's orders. The governor has issued orders. We are, ladies and gentlemen, in a state of emergency. However you feel about the governor is really besides the point right now. She is the governor, and she and her team are trying to do what is necessary to inhibit the spread or the transmission of the coronavirus, and that is for all of us and all of our loved ones. Now, she has issued orders, and under the law, she has this authority. If you are not listening to her orders, if you are operating beyond what she has ordered you to operate, if you are price gouging the people and trying to make a quick buck off of the misery and the panic of the people, then you are a douchebag. And let me remind you that that douchebaggery is against the law, and that the governor has activated public health and has paired public health up with the Guam Police Department to enforce her orders. So I would highly suggest that you end that douchebaggery and follow her orders, because it is for all of our good and our protection. And even if you are a healthy, selfish, greedy person, you need to think about all the unhealthy older people, younger people, people with existing medical conditions who may not be able to survive this virus.
Are you listening, DFS?
But that's in all seriousness. Jacob Nakamura sent us a note, and it's very sad. She said, if we could all just say a prayer tonight for the woman in ICU with confirmed coronavirus. Oh, she really needs our prayers right now. That doesn't sound good. Let's all lift her up in our prayers now for healing. Yes, that is something that we all need to do. Thank you, Jacob, for giving us that. Speaking of prayers for healing, the Catholic Church, the Archbishop Burns got back from Manila this morning. He's in self-imposed quarantine for 14 days, but he has issued a letter to the Archdiocese, a pastoral letter in response to the declaration of a public health state of emergency. I'm going to skip through a lot of this stuff and just get to the meat of this, okay? He says, I announce that in conjunction with the declaration of emergency as part of our precautionary measures to stop and avert the spread of COVID-19, all Sunday and weekday public masses, as well as all other parish events, will be suspended in the Archdiocese effective Tuesday, March 17 until Saturday, April 18, 2020. The celebration of the Holy Eucharist, he says, is the source and summit of the Catholic faith, through which we encounter and enter into sacred communion with the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. Therefore, my decision to temporarily suspend this practice was not taken lightly. He says, wait, there's more. There's even more here about, I'm not saying that the other things he's saying isn't important. Okay, so he says, I am entrusting to our priests the prudential discretion of celebrating baptisms, weddings, and funerals. Gatherings are not to exceed 50 people in attendance. He is following the governor's orders in this, okay? This directive is given by the local government so that the number of cases of those infected with COVID-19 does not spike. Holy Communion, except as I've never seen this word before. Viaticum, except as viaticum will not be distributed to the faithful. Can someone tell me what that means? What does viaticum mean? Also, at the discretion of pastors, churches may be open for private prayer so that you can approach our Lord who is fully present in the tabernacle. Please also receive direction from the pastor or the one whom he designates as to the availability of the sacrament of reconciliation. Please contact your parishes directly for more information. So the Archbishop Burns taking unprecedented steps to protect the flock. I don't know if this has ever been done before. Have you ever heard of this being done before? The shutting down of masses? I think this is unprecedented. Hold on, let's go to your comments first. Jacob Nakamura says, thank you, Archbishop. Yes. Rita Arceo says her kids are already running the aircon sats might be. Matthew Hunter says, hide the remote for the aircon. Better yet, turn off main breaker before you leave. Johnny is self-quarantining. Alicia Janier says, Dodea is still open. I haven't received. Actually, let's call Jordan Information Center and ask. Child support. The Attorney General's office is not open, so I don't know how child support is supposed to work. But thank you for the question, Amy Jackson. Rosemary, you know, normally when the Joint Information Center doesn't answer, there's something that's gonna, they're like hoarding information and they're like rushing to get something done. There might actually be news tonight because it's been like an hour since we've been trying to get a hold of them, right? And they're not answering. Right. That normally means that something's about to break. Rosemary Mancipit says, Troy, what about the nightclubs? That's a very good question. I would assume that they're not supposed to be open because they would have 50 or more people.
Right.
Unless it's like a little bar or something. But I mean, let's be smart about this, people, and not tempt fate. Even if you're in a karaoke bar, you're within that. You've already breached that social distancing boundary. You're going to be interacting with the bartender. Who's going to be touching things that who knows who has touched. I mean, it's not a smart thing to do, to go to a nightclub. Amy Jackson says, praying for my tax refund. Joshua Cadahay says, dang it, pettit jurors. Francine Maria Valle says, how much is Spam usually? I think regular price is like $3.99, right? Thereabouts. Sometimes it's on sale for like $3.69. Maybe, if you're lucky, $3.29. I think the tulip and the black label is like, oh my God, that bug that just flew around, is that what was touching me earlier?
Baby, it's coming towards you, by the way.
Get it away from me, get it away from me. Where is it now? Why does it have loud flapping?
It's gone.
Are you sure? Are you lying?
Maybe.
What in the hell was I saying?
I actually lost sight of it.
Where did it go, guys? That was a freaking pterodactyl. I saw it from across the room. Spam. Like black label spam. What's it called? Black label spam.
Right.
Or red tulip is like normal. It can be like $2.99 or even $2.39. Screw this spam conversation. That freaking pterodactyl almost took my head off. Joshua Cadahay says, ever been in the jury waiting room? Yeah, that is like coronavirus septic right there. Matthew Hunter says the price gouging, starting with pay more. Jacob Nakamura says viaticum is a term used, especially in the Catholic Church, for the Eucharist, also called Holy Communion, administered with or without anointing of the sick, also called extreme unction to a person who is dying. Oh, okay. Viaticum is thus a part of the last rites. Oh, okay. Hi, Joanne Fullerton. Chella says to check my messages. 1 second. Chella, where is that bug?
It's gone, Chilla.
Are you lying? Because
It's gone away from me.
Jacob said it's. He's
It's
lying,
not
right?
on you.
He's lying.
He's lying.
He's lying.
Yes, he is. Hey, Jacob, ole.
Jacob, you a-hole. And Johnny's in on the joke too. Jacob says Dodea is still open and the parents are not happy about it. Well, we're trying to get a hold of joining. Well, let's just call civil defense.
Good evening, Guam Homeland Security.
Hi, do you guys know anything about Dodea schools? Hello?
Yes.
Do you guys know anything about Dodea schools being open or closed or anything like that?
Dodea is still open, sir.
Still open? Okay. Is there anything else we wanted to ask them, Chalu? You guys got any new cases?
No, sir.
No new cases? Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, bye. Matthew Hunter said fake spam. I actually like Red Tulip and Black Label more than regular spam. Rosemary Mancipit says, my son says Wyoming sold out of spam. Jacob is freaking, I hate Jacob right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Jeez. Anyway, so that's that. Dr. Shea has been on a roll since the weekend, actually, and he wants, and the governor did sort of, I guess, met him halfway with his request, but Dr. Shea wants the governor to lock down and quarantine Guam for 14 days, and his reason has to do with something called an infectious curve. He's imploring the governor to halt the further spread of COVID-19 by basically declaring Guam as shut down for a 14-day period. He said, and this is something that he wrote on his Facebook and Instagram feed early this morning. He said, as I put on this mask at 5:30 a.m. and head into GMH to care for my patients, please pray for me and my fellow healthcare colleagues as I have prayed for all of you. Keep us safe and pray for our families as we distance ourselves from them. Please ask our governor and the powers that be to lock down and quarantine Guam. We don't have enough doctors and nurses or the equipment. We need to stop all incoming new viruses to Guam. Let us recover and manage for 2 weeks. We need to stop the spread and blunt this infectious curve. We are at war. Our enemy is the virus. The gates are open and we need to close it now to stop further virus from coming in. 2 weeks, no flights, quarantine Guam. The governor actually, so a few hours after Dr. Shea put this out, imploring the governor to do this, she did, in a way, restrict entry into Guam. And that is, so the governor does not have the power to stop flights. What she does have the power to do is either A, shut down the airport, or B, mandate quarantine for people coming off of the planes. And she did just that. Dr. Shea said this is not enough, but at least it's something. So according to the Joint Information Center and the governor's executive order, effective immediately, non-resident travelers seeking entry into Guam who have spent a week or more in jurisdictions affected by COVID-19 will be subject to mandatory quarantine. The mandatory quarantine will be applied unless the traveler possesses a DPHSS recognized and certified document that attests he or she is not infected with COVID-19. Now, this is probably the biggest news of the day. The governor actually, I think this is unprecedented, she has ordered a mandatory quarantine. Returning residents without the same certification will be subject to quarantine in their homes for a minimum of 14 days. This is not an option that the governor is giving to people. This is a mandatory quarantine that is going to happen moving forward. Sorry, can we just take a break real quick so I can smoke a cigarette and just do some commercials? We'll be right back with more news regarding COVID-19, panic buying, a ship that's coming, what the legislature is up to, how the congressman has had to clear up some misconceptions by the Speaker of the Guam legislature, and I'll sing a little tune for you that we did in high school.
Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using island cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Michael Nicholas. Our veterans deserve the best, and I'm working hard to make sure they receive what they earned defending our freedom. If you need help receiving the benefits you earned from the VA or the Defense Department, please call my office at 475-6453 or go online at stnicholas.house.gov. On behalf of a grateful community, thank you for your service.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael Nicholas.
After Guam, si Rod's Grip, I'm introducing the 2020 Toyota Tacoma Access Cap T-Max. Este na mês, gasto mo yung promo ng United Airlines, $1,000 United vouchers. Often ang nangga, sabik sa ating mga manono sa Tacoma, Guam, Tacoma Territory. Text si Rod's, ginagi Atkins Pro Toyota, 671-788-2584. Alam bro, go si Rod's, sinanagan sa 671-788-2584. Often ang nangga, let's go places.
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops, won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see, and after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever. For all that we know, the roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
Man, that video always gets me. So, have you guys thought about this for a second? I mean, I know everything's been moving so quickly, but you know how, like, there are a bunch of people on Guam who are always like, close the border, stop letting people in. I'm talking about before this whole Corona thing. Like, stop letting the Micronesians in. Have you thought for a second that, like, now the rules are reversed? And, like, all of Micronesia is like, don't go to Guam. Guam has the Cooties. We are the first ones with the freaking Cooties. How about that for role reversal? Hold on, I'm trying to get this pool open. I don't know where that bug went. Holy cow. I almost freaking cried out of fear on TV. Laugh it up, people. Laugh it up. Hey. Oh, good. We do have some information from Naval Base Guam. Stand by. Naval Base Guam commanding officer signs declaration of public health emergency. Issued an hour ago in Santa Rita. Commanding officer Captain Jeffrey Grimes. Hey, what's up, Captain Grimes? Signing declaration of public health emergency in response to coronavirus. The declaration takes effect immediately and implements additional mitigation measures to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. The directive applies to all personnel on board Naval Base Guam, including active duty service members, U.S. Coast Guard personnel, Department of Defense, and other U.S. government civilian employees, dependents of military or civilian personnel, contractors, master labor contract employees, civilian mariners, indirect hire agreement employees, DOD beneficiaries, and other individuals who are subject to DOD authority. This is broad. This order is also applicable to all commands, activities, agencies, and departments who are tenants or provide services on board Naval Base Guam. With this directive, access to and operations on board Naval Base Guam will be limited to mission essential operations, activities, and investments. Weekday access will be limited to mission essential personnel for operational purposes, active duty U.S. military and their dependents, including members of the Armed Forces Reserves and National Guard on Title 10 orders, and authorized civilians as denoted on their common access card and their dependents. Weekend access will be open to all authorized patrons. Captain Grimes says, I have witnessed firsthand and fully understand that many of us are feeling anxious about these recent events. However, I am asking everyone to remain calm as I assure you that the safety and well-being of our personnel and families at Naval Base Guam and the island of Guam remain my priority, my top priority. That's what he says. Here are the suspended services. The following non-mission essential activities are suspended: community relations events, daily or weekend guest passes, non-contractual. That was a big gasp you just heard collectively in the air. Let me repeat that. Daily or weekend guest passes, non-contractual commercial activities, including taxi services, scuba diving instruction, and all other non-commercial activities not in support of a government-issued contract. Continued services. The following functions are determined to be mission essential. Mission essential OANI, Naval Base Guam Child Development Center facilities in support of mission essential personnel only. House guest passes, persons acting on a valid agent letter, persons obtaining fingerprinting services, and other functions deemed mission essential and low risk. Commissary and Navy exchange. Here's the part everyone wants to listen to. In order to limit large gatherings, promote social distancing, enforce strict safety and hygiene, and support mission readiness in the wake of COVID-19, the Commissary and Navy Exchange will limit access to retail facilities on board Naval Base Guam as follows. From Monday to Friday, access will be limited to 1. Active duty U.S. military and their dependents, including members of the Armed Forces Reserve and National Guard on Title X orders, and 2. Authorized civilians as denoted on their common access card and their dependents. On Saturday and Sunday, all authorized patrons. The commissary is open daily except Tuesday. The Navy Exchange is open 7 days a week. The commissary will open as scheduled on March 18. The Navy Exchange will open as scheduled on March 17. To preserve a supply of necessary cleaning supplies and sanitizers for the duration of the pandemic, patrons are limited to 2 identical items of any cleaning product per family. You hear that? My grandma had ways around that. When she would shop at Kimchi and Olympia Mart, and they had the specials, you know, like you can only buy 2 rolls of, you know what? It was like 2 rolls of Charmin back then. I don't know why, but back then there was like also a toilet tissue craze. I have no idea why. Or like only 5 cans of carnation milk limit at the like Kimchi, Olympia. What were those other stores that they had? Anyway, her way around it was she would take all of us, all of her grandchildren, and tell all of her children lest she yell at them for a good 2-week period, and we would all have to go and buy the limit. Yeah, that's how my grandma got around that. This policy will remain in effect until April 1, 2020, but may be extended as conditions warrant. Morale, service, welfare, and recreation services. MWR events and sporting events are suspended. MWR room, facility, beach, reservation rentals are suspended. MWR equipment rentals suspended. First Strike Bowling Alley suspended for bowling, and Kids Corner food services open for pickup only. Torpedoes and Tomahawks open, buffet lines suspended. I guess that's the name of a restaurant, Torpedoes and Tomahawks. Library services are open for computer use only, open with limited patron capacity. The library center is open with limited patron capacity. Tickets and travel office is suspended. Beaches open with no rental services. Big screen theater suspended. The driving range is open. Charles King Fitness Center is suspended. NCTS Fitness Center suspended. Charles King Fitness Center swimming pool open with no locker room service. The Teen Center is suspended. Child Development Center and School Age Care are open for mission essential personnel only. Non-mission essential services suspended to include meetings, parents' day out, and hourly care. For Fleet and Family Services Center, Fleet and Family Support Center remains open for individual services. All customers and visitors are required to go through screening in the FFSC main office reception area in Building 106 prior to receiving services. FFSC's Loaner Locker program is suspended. New parent support programs, home visiting services, suspended. NPS services will still be offered telephonically or through our other electronic means. The FFSC outreach programs and classes or workshops conducted off-site, suspended. For information on classes or workshops, contact 333-2056 or 2057 or 2058. Naval Base Housing Office remains open for services via appointment only. To make an appointment, contact 333-2081, 2082 or 2083, or email ralph.hall, HAUL.CTR at fe.navy.mil or regina.quintanil.ctr at fe.navy.mil or victoria.cruz.ctr at fe.navy.mil. The Visitor Control Center, day and weekend passes suspended. Guest services offices open only for house guest passes, persons acting on valid agent letter, and fingerprinting services by appointment only. Contractor services are open by appointment only. To make an appointment, contact 339-1095. Naval Base Guam Chapel, Bible studies, meetings, children's church canceled. Stay tuned for further updates on Sunday church services. Personnel Support Detachment, Guam will be in operation. However, services will be limited to phone and email. Service members are advised to contact their command pay personnel administrator for assistance. The ID card lab will be open for common access card services by appointment only. Appointments can be made online at rapids-appointments.osd.mil. No fee passport services will be open by appointment only. To make an appointment, contact 339-3189. The Guam Legal Assistance Office is closed until further notice. All notary services has been suspended. Client appointments by phone are still available. To make an appointment or for immediate legal assistance, call 333-2061 or email guamlegalassistanceoffice@gmail.com. The Navy Marine Corps Relief Society thrift shop is suspended. Uniform locker open. Administrative services open. Dodea schools will remain open. All Naval Base Guam facilities and services are subject to closure without advance notice. Personnel and patrons are encouraged to monitor Naval Base Guam's social media for updates on facility and service hours and closures. Please share this for widest dissemination. We'll probably have that out on our website and on our Facebook page after this show. The Captain Grimes alluded to people kind of going crazy. And I had heard something about reasons for shutting down the commissary, though I'm not going to repeat it because it's just a rumor. However, I have seen videos of people going bonkers on this island. And I kind of wanted to assure everyone that, like, as we self-quarantine, that kind of means that we have, like, a lot of time on our hands, which means that we'll be looking over those magistrates' reports more closely. And I assure you that if you are so selfish during this time that you are going to steal for drugs or you are going to cause some sort of ruckus somewhere, and you are not going to consider that at this time when the community really needs to be more like a community, and you land yourself an arrest that not only diminishes the ability of our Guam Police Department to control law and order on this island, but also exposes our police officers to additional risks of contamination and transmission of this virus, which places our entire community in further peril, that we at Kandit would do our part to embarrass you as far as we can on the air about how stupid and selfish you are to have committed crimes in the middle of this whole thing. And to that point, we understand that as people are cooped up in their homes, there can be the temptation or basically more of an opportunity for fights to break out, for domestic violence, for people to get hot-headed. You know, find something to do, Netflix and chill, Hulu, have sex with your spouse and not your chatmac. Try not to do the chatmac thing to stop the spread or the transmission of COVID-19 and chlamydia during seriously. And to avoid issues of domestic violence, like we all really need to do our part here. And yes, it will become tempting, or their opportunity might just be there a lot more than normal because we're all home with our families. Now is the time to love our families and not commit crime with them, lest you end up on Candid News. Now, there was some kind of fighting that happened. Matthew Hunter says, yes, smoke some pot. Mark Uggins says, make typhoon donuts and chill. Yeah. Christine Flores is saying, do you know what happens to flights leaving Guam? I would think those people are going somewhere else where there's not coronavirus. But I don't know. I guess I don't think there will be flights going to the Philippines because Duterte has closed that place down, right? As I understand it, 49 states, Puerto Rico and Guam, now have coronavirus, right?
Right.
Is that it? Does Virgin Islands have coronavirus? I don't know. CNMI does not have any confirmed cases. As of a couple of hours ago, the CNMI governor's office issued a rumor control meme that said, contrary to rumors you're hearing in the community, we do not have a confirmed coronavirus case. Let's see what else is here. Amy Jackson was asking something. Let me go to it. Joel Charfers is asking if Guam public school system will be closed for 14 days. Is that true? Is it 14 days or is it until March 31? I think it's 14 days, Joel. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's 14 days. Elena Garcia is asking, are they going to suspend shows at the hotels? According to the governor's orders, those shows should not be going on. And if you know they're going on, it's simple. Call the Guam Police Department. They're supposed to be enforcing the governor's orders. And again, if you are a douchebag business owner who is not following the governor's orders and you are endangering the health and safety of the rest of us, well, then you really need to be arrested.
Yeah,
and if you're
yeah,
price
yeah.
gouging, and I've heard so many price gouging stories today, it's pretty shameful of some of these business owners. Amy Jackson asked, can you verify for the NEX if that is the main exchange or the mini marts as well for disabled veterans usage mainly? Jacob Nakamura responded to her, the information can be found on the Navy Base Guam Facebook page, which is the information that I was reading. Maybe we can get more information from the Joint Information Center. Joanne Fullerton says, is there trash pickup tomorrow? So according to the release from Joint Information Center, Joanne, Guam Solid Waste will continue as usual, except that they will not be picking up recycling bins. Johnny Rosario, hi Chelo, is responding to Marianne Takita about magistrates. For magistrates, prelim for juveniles, civil protection, restraining orders, and search warrants. And that can be found online as well. So there was an exchange that happened earlier today that we didn't get to bring it to you. But Speaker Tina Muñoz sent a letter to Congressman Mike Nicholas about this whole COVID-19 thing, and it was based on the emergency food stamps provisions in the president's or the Congress's blah, blah, blah. And I think this issue is causing some confusion in the community because a couple rumors came my way. So let's clear it up right now. So the speaker today sent a letter. It's on this, go ahead and cast to my screen if you can. It's about the passage of H.R. 6201. This is the emergency funding bill that Congress passed for COVID-19. She says, as you are aware, 3 cases of COVID-19 was just recently confirmed on Guam. And it's come to our attention that Guam was not included in Section 102 of H.R. 6201 regarding $100 million funding availability for food stamps for the public health emergency. This is the expansion food stamps provision of H.R. 6201. Any little bit of aid we can get from the federal government will help the people of Guam as they struggle to deal with this emergency. Guam has a high poverty rate and all schools on Guam currently receive free lunch. Guam should be included in this section alongside the CNMI, Puerto Rico, and American Samoa. I respectfully request that this section be amended to include Guam. So then the congressman writes back to the speaker because there's apparently misinformation about that. And he says, and he was quite feisty about it too, while I appreciate your earnest response in ensuring that the people of Guam receive equity in the availability of emergency federal funds, the premise of your action is misguided and uninformed. A diligent reading of the provision you incorrectly cited and the pertinent provisions of enabling legislation cited in the bill would inform you that Guam is already included in the general provisions that govern the availability of commodities for emergency food assistance programs. So there was a rumor in the community, and that went around quite a few times today, that Congressman Mike Nicholas does not want Guam to receive $100 million in emergency food stamp aid under this HR 6201. That's untrue. And the congressman clarifies this in his letter to the speaker, where he's basically like, what are you talking about? That funding, Guam is included, but there's more. He informs us of more here. He says, to give you an appreciation and a better understanding of the resources that will be available to Guam within the Food and Nutrition Service Division of the bill in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak, should HR 6201 pass into law, I provide you the following information. There's an additional $500 million to the WIC program, additional $400 million to the Commodity Assistance Program, which includes emergency food assistance, the Food Bank Program, and the Commodity Supplemental Program. Emergency food assistance to households with at least one child eligible to receive free or reduced price meals whose school is closed no less than 5 consecutive days due to the COVID-19 emergency. This was one of the original things that Speaker Barnes brought up to Congressman St. Nicholas, and it's answered here. Flexibility on the work and work training requirements for low-income jobless workers on the SNAP program, and ability for the states, including Guam, to request the Secretary of Agriculture for special waivers to provide temporary emergency benefits to SNAP households up to the maximum monthly allotment. And then he goes on to clarify probably what the Speaker's office was confused about, and that is how Guam is included in several of these provisions, but for some reason, and unfortunately, American Samoa, the CNMI, and Puerto Rico are left out of the Commodity Assistance Program and the SNAP program. So hopefully that clarifies things for people who were wondering about that, and certainly for the Speaker's office that was wondering about that. They did send a letter to the congressman earlier today. The congressman responded with his letter just a few hours after that. Now, lastly, we want to address this issue with panic buying. And there are people, I don't know why. Like for the past month, Johnny and I have been like, I think Johnny even did a whole like what to put in your 14-day supply. She did a whole thing where she like demonstrated what should be in your 14-day supply of food and all that stuff, right? And so for like the past month, we've been saying this. But I guess this is just how things go, right? So people wait for the shoe to drop, and then everyone goes to the stores. And Kevin Riley, spokesman for the Guam Fire Department, good person to get some advice from on stuff like this. I asked him earlier this morning, I was like, is there something about the toilet tissue thing? Is that like a thing? And he was like, brother, I am just as confused as you are about the whole toilet tissue. Like, honest to God, there's no reason that everyone should be hoarding up all of that toilet tissue. There is also no reason that people should be hoarding up on other things beyond a 1 month supply of canned goods and things and medicines and things like that, because great news, according to Charlie Hermosa, the president of APL Guam. APL is one of the 2 shipping agents that ships goods and commodities to Guam. On Tuesday and Wednesday this week, that's tomorrow and the day after, ships loaded with containers, loaded with commodities and food and all that stuff are arriving at our docks at the seaport. Do we have that picture? So they need to give this girl, one of their workers posted this on her Facebook page and it just went viral. And she says, this is one of the APL Guam workers. She says, Guam peeps, don't worry about food or supplies running out. We still have 2 ships full of containers arriving Tuesday and Wednesday this week from the U.S. suppliers. Oh, from the U.S. Suppliers are still shipping goods weekly. We will be okay. Hashtag do not panic. Right on APL Guam. Thank you for loading our shelves back up with food, because everyone is wiping the food out. And we have seen all of those pictures of the shelves. And Dee Dee, I'm so sorry. I did not know that you were in that picture in the lines at the commissary. But we saw the 2 lines, crisscrossing each other inside the commissary, and the people with like the mountains of rice. And I don't know what's up with the paper plates either. Like, because GWA didn't say they're shutting off the water. People can still wash their dishes. So I don't know why people are stocking up on paper plates. But everyone's buying paper plates, paper forks, like all this stuff. I saw something where like a nurse was like, everyone, you need to buy aspirin, Tylenol, fever reducer, vitamin C stuff. Like, never mind this toilet paper stuff. Anyway, that's all for tonight. Unless, let me just go to your comments and see if there are any questions that you have or any new information that any of you were able to provide. Mark again says $60 for jasmine rice at Kmart. Jeez. That is a lot. You need to report them for price gouging. James Howard has some choice words for the police department. Joanne Fullerton is asking if I have a cold. I have congestion. I had like a little flu a week ago, but it's not corona. Oh, the funniest thing I read today. This is a little racist, but I'm gonna be racist against my own race too. All right. So you know how like we in Chamorroville may at times have accents that may lead us to call it something like Corona. It's the Corona. And if you add some Tagalog to it, you may also call it the Corona virus. Is that a beer? Before everyone starts panic buying all the freaking spam, all the bottled water for God knows what reason, the toilet tissue and the paper plates. Leave the milk and the eggs on the shelves so the rest of us with some sense and sensibility can continue to eat for the next 2 weeks to a month. In high school, I went to Notre Dame High School, right? It's the chaudiest Catholic school in Guam. Yes, I went there. I'm from the class of 1998. We were the first co-ed class, matter of fact. And like, I just want to tell you this story. You guys know BJ Chalahi, right? He runs Rasen Atsulati, the dancing group. Anyway, BJ is a year younger than me. And every now and then we had these like fun skit things where like the classes, and I think we were sophomores at the time, and BJ was with the very talented, musically talented. They knew how to play like the guitar and the violin and the drums, and they knew how to sing. And they won Songfest like 3 times, and we never did. And like, they were losers, okay? But anyway, at their skits, I remember BJ, and this was before. I was the only one at this time that had come out of the closet. And there were a whole bunch of man Floridas at Notre Dame. And everyone knew that they were gay because of how they talked and walked, all right? But I was the only one who had the cojones to come out of the closet. Anyway, so, you know, BJ is man Florida-ish, right? And so he's leading his class in a skit. And his skit, he sings. Hold on. My microphone's caught. He sings. Let's see, spam. Ay. And then my classmate, Janet Escalera. She's a lanky girl, very skinny, but always she's up to people. She runs from the bleachers over to BJ as he's leading his class in let's see, and she starts mimicking it. She's like, let's see, I will never forget that. And BJ gave her a dirty look because they're cousins.
They're like first cousins, I think. And she was totally bullying him, and she was like, "You're such a faggot, BJ." The moral of the story is don't hoard up all that spam, eggs, and milk, man. For Candid, I'm Troy Torres, and that's Eric Rosario. Good night.